Something is troubling me, Inquisitor. Leliana is receiving reports of mages becoming possessed, Templars going rogue. No one is dealing with these matters. I was hoping we might, before they get worse.
We can certainly look into it.
I will mark these incidents on the map as I learn of them, Inquisitor. And I would be pleased to accompany you if and when you investigate.
I want to talk to you about the cure for tranquility.
It's not a cure. Not truly. Mages who were once tranquil lose all control over their emotions. They become irrational, unable to focus. Perhaps that state eventually passes and they can be helped, but it will take time to investigate.
There are so many tranquil. They deserve a chance to heal.
I would not want news of a cure to spread until we know for certain we can help these people. Once we have that, however, then I will spread the word myself.
That's enough for now.
Another time, then.
Your worship?
I wanted to talk about you, if that's all right.
You know, I'm from Tevinter. Wasn't a slave, but even citizens have it rough if they're not mages. I was a soldier, but women joined the ranks under a different program. When they found out I was passing, it got ugly. I ran, met Bull near the border, and ended up here. Not a life I'd wish on everyone, but it'll do.
What's Tevinter like for a citizen? Someone who isn't a slave or a mage?
I'm of the Separati, citizens who aren't mages. Mages are in charge and everyone knows it. But a wealthy merchant can have an easy life. At the low end, people just try to stay out of slavery. My father was a tailor. I joined the army after the Imperial slaves drove him under.
How did slaves drive your family out of business?
My father made shirts, aprons, that kind of thing. Nothing fancy. One of the magisters had a pet project to prevent the poor from dying of cold in the winter. Nice, right? He had Imperial slaves making simple peasant clothes and selling them for almost nothing. That magister's nice idea put out slave-made clothes at prices my father couldn't match.
It's difficult to compete with someone who doesn't get paid.
That's Tevinter. My father sold himself into slavery. He's one of the Servus Publicus, the Imperium-owned slaves now.
Why did you decide to live as a man?
I didn't decide anything. I've been like this my whole life. My parents wanted me to marry up. They tried to find me a nice merchant's son. Every day, put on a dress, look into my father's shaving mirror, and just hate myself.
How did your family react when you started?
My mother wanted to throw me out. She said if I didn't marry well, I was dooming the family to slavery. She was happy to take the money I set as a soldier, though. Not that it mattered in the end. My father. When I was little, he'd angle his mirror down so I could pretend to shave, just like him. He never said anything, but I think he knew.
If you had the chance to use magic, would you change all the way?
What? No. I don't want any magic like that within 10 yards of my body. When I was younger, I don't know. Everyone has silly dreams. In Tevinter, dreams like that get you killed. Bull helped me make a good life. Nice armor and a well-placed sock, and I'm happy.
We'll talk later.
I can't understand how those women in the kitchen can be awake so early after the night we had.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talking with you, boss.
I'll keep an eye out. It wasn't from a flower. He wrote it in the snow.
I've heard about some oddities here in the keep. Was that you?
Yes. Maybe. What was it?
Can I assume you're responsible for the turnips that have shown up in the fireplaces?
They don't smell the same raw.
You needed that soldier to smell them, so he could die thinking he'd gone home.
He did go home.
Someone found a barrel full of misplaced daggers. Was that you?
They were safer there.
Let's talk about something else.
All right.
The servants are having some trouble remembering some odd events. Someone is leaving peeled plums on the windowsill. It's attracting flies.
Spiders need to eat.
And healers need something to treat infected wounds, like spiderwebs.
The plums are already dead. But they don't mind helping.
I'll talk to you later.
How do you know?
Looking for someone to talk your ear off? I think I can oblige.
What are your thoughts on the Inquisition?
If there's anybody out there who hasn't joined the Inquisition, they're hiding under a rock. Did you want to take over for Eldon? I think we might be able to conquer it just by looking east.
How do you think Josephine is handling the job of ambassador?
I'm starting to get the feeling that this is all a warm-up before she takes over Antiva in a bloodless coup.
What do you think of our general?
Find him a war or something. If he spends any more time in the yard drilling, Josephine will have him killed.
What do you think of Liliana's work?
She scares me. Mostly in a good way. At least I'm reasonably sure she's on our side.
Good to know.
Back to work, then.
Inquisitor.
I'd like to hear more about what you saw in your exploration of the Fade.
I would be happy to share it with you.
Tell me about the old ruins you explored.
I found an ancient dwarven thaig no longer sheltered by the stone. An earthquake had exposed it all to daylight. 1,000 dwarven corpses lay, the victims of a dark-spawn horde. Their last stand marked by one great ring of armor. In the middle, one small body, clutching tightly to a small stuffed toy.
Tell me about the old memories you found in the Fade.
I saw a dwarf emerge into the light of day and shield his eyes against the sun. The first time he had seen it, the tears were streaming from his eyes. I thought them from the blazing light, until I saw the rock he held so tightly. Then he laid the rock down gently, and he left it as he walked away.
Tell me about a spirit you encountered.
The Alamari crossed the Frostback Mountains to escape a beast they called the Shadow Goddess in their story. I met the spirit that they fled. She walks the Fade along the southern tundra, weeping lonely and forgotten. Great Ferelden formed because a lonely spirit drove her prey away.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Here we are.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Popular topic. Anything specific?
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise, and then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
I should go.
Try not to kill anyone without me.
Before you is Service of the Minratha's Circle of Magi. You met him and his Venatori in the Western Approach. He admits to working for Corypheus, raising monsters, and using magic for conquest. He also used his connections to smuggle magical artifacts out of the Approach, without his master's consent.
Whether or not he's loyal to Corypheus has no bearing on his crimes.
I was hired by a third party. I've no loyalty to him. Might you find that useful, Your Worship?
I'm sorry, are you attempting to bargain with us?
Bargain? I plead. I throw myself on your mercy. I also have friends in Tevinter who owe me large debts. Leave what happened in the Approach behind us, Inquisitor, and I can put them all at your disposal.
Liliana will assign agents to you. I expect them to inform me that you have been forthright. If you want redemption, you'll have to earn it.
I can more than pay my keep, Inquisitor. Thank you.
Lady Montilyet, hold a moment. Inquisitor, I must speak with you.
What is it?
I must explain something first about the Montilyet's fortunes.
I remember you said your family had been forbidden from trading in Orlais.
It's devastated our finances. The Montilyets have, in fact, been in debt for over 100 years.
I had no idea your family's situation was so precarious.
Hardly anyone outside the family does. For generations, we've done everything to keep creditors at bay. Sold our lands to stave off interest. It is infuriating to see my family still reduced to this. I'm to become head of our house. If I sell any more of our land, my family will become destitute. That cannot be my legacy to them.
Most people worry about their next meal, never mind an estate.
I'm not blind, but I worry for my family. My foolish sister Yvette with her daydreams, my brothers trying to rebuild our fleet with their own hands. Is it wrong to hope they never know hardship?
Is there anything I can do?
I'd almost solved our problems. For a while. I negotiated a chance to reinstate the Montilyets as landed traders in Orlais. We could rebuild with that. But when I dispatched paperwork to Val Royeaux, I've just learned my carriers were murdered, and the documents restoring my family's trading status destroyed.
Do you have any idea who murdered them?
Leliana made inquiries that bore success. Comte Boisvert, a nobleman in Val Royeaux, claims to know who killed my messengers. He has a request that you come when I meet him, so he's seen publicly conferring with you.
What will being seen with me gain the Comte?
The Count will drop hints at parties he's to meet with an important visitor. Allies and rivals will take note. Once he's met you, there will be speculation. The Count will subtly spin reports to his advantage. He will use us. But if he knows who killed my people, I ask that we indulge him.
If that's what it takes to get to the bottom of this, I'll meet this Comte with you.
Thank you, Inquisitor. It means... you are too kind. I must know who killed my couriers just to harm my family.
There! A rogue mage! It's over. Thank you for bringing us here.
So the Venatori want to keep us out. Shall we disappoint them?
You're shitting me. You're sure these demons aren't moving?
Everything's frozen. I don't think this was the Venatori.
It's as if time's been slowed. The power to accomplish this
would attract the Venatori's attention.
The texts describe a chamber. This must be it.
stone for a reason.
The markings on it. I've heard of keystones that bear the same.
Keep searching. There may be more.
This is where the Second Blight began. 700 years later, and it still hasn't recovered.
Staff. Is this what they were after?
I'd be careful with that if I were you. Just a thought.
Flowing again. this gets worse.
Someone would have freed the demons eventually. At least we were here to stop them.
Inquisitor.
It seems very unlikely that she could be nesting at this time of year. Ah, fellow researcher, how can I help you?
I found this manuscript on dragons in an ancient Tevinter laboratory. Will it help you?
What remarkable diagrams. Are these chambers of the draconic heart? Oh, if only I could read the script. Do you perhaps know a linguist? Or a Tevinter historian?
Don't look at me. Nobody's spoken that form of Tevene in 700 years.
I don't, but the Inquisition might. I'll speak to our specialists. We'll have to speak some other time.
It seems very unlikely that she could be nesting at this time of year. Ah, fellow researcher, how can I help you?
My people have translated that Tevinter manuscript.
Studies on dragon hunting patterns? Migrations? Ha! Durant's theory that dragons can't see the color blue is refuted. Now, I need to determine the appropriate spots so the lures can be planted. If you've observed anything, perhaps Gurn with the claw and burn marks of a dragon attack, I would be glad to hear of it.
We'll have to speak some other time.
I'm curious to see who comes running now.
After more than 30 days, I have yet to observe the abyssal high dragon in... Oh. Yes? Can I assist you?
The raiders are no longer in the way.
I've made note of the appropriate spots in the wastes for you to place lures. Place this bait, and then... wait. It will be a momentous achievement in draconology.
I'm off to plant the bait for the High Dragon.
I cannot wait to hear your observations. You must make note of how she circles the hunting area.
We'll have to speak some other time.